Today we're going to talk about how to establish a wedding budget. So before you kind of do and dive into any of your planning, you need to know roughly about what you're going to spend. So
right, perfect.
We've got about 4 helpful tips that we're going to give you just to get started, give you some ideas, and we'll go from there. First, you want to do some research, kind of get a little bit of an idea of what things cost. We know you probably have never planned a wedding before, so how much does a DJ cost? How much does a photographer? Most of those people list their pricing on their websites, or you can give them a quick call just to get a rough idea. But that you want to kind of get some background notes on what's an average pricing for your area. We aren't going to give you averages since you guys are in different cities.
But you don't want to get sticker shock either. A lot of these things, maybe they're more expensive than you imagined that they were going to be. But again, you don't also want to overestimate and think, well, I can't do this and I can't have that. And then find out that, well, maybe that was in your budget. So.
Yeah. We've actually included some links in the description below to kind of get you a start on maybe what the average is for the nation, or different ideas on what things cost. So,
but check your area.
Yeah, get some research done. Kind of look around, do some web searching for that kind of.
Check with your friends that are recently married. See what you can get from them.
Yep. Or talk to maybe a wedding planner and get
That's
some
always
ideas.
A good idea.
For your area. Okay, the second tip, start talking with your fiance and your fiance's parents, your parents.
This is an area that you can't just kind of do in the abstract. You need to know precisely how much money you're going to be able to spend, because you don't want to plan that $20,000 wedding and find out you have a $5,000 budget. So.
Yes. So start that conversation with your fiance, start that conversation with parents and in-laws to get the ball rolling on what they are thinking of contributing, how much does that exactly, and get a good firm number. Be honest with yourselves on what you have to spend, and be precise on the numbers that you kind of have to work with. That's going to only help you in the long run.
Right. You don't want to be disappointed, because the fact of the matter is you'll only have what you have.
Yeah.
So even if you dream of having a bigger wedding or a bigger budget, it's not going to make it happen. You have to be honest.
You have to be honest
precise
and realistic.
Right.
So next, you're going to prioritize and kind of break it down into a manageable section. So prioritize. You want to choose maybe the top 1 or 2 things that is make or break your wedding. Is that photography? Is that the food?
Is it your dress? Do you have to have that perfect dress?
Yeah, figure out what's the most important to you, and that's where you're going to make sure you are allocating enough money. It doesn't have to be the most money, but enough to have what your dream is. So, and definitely discuss that with your fiance too. It's both of your weddings, and you need to have an idea of what's important to the two of you. Then you're going to break it down. So you want to kind of split it up into sections. You know, you're going to have a dress. You're going to have, or attire. You're going to have costs that go to just your reception, costs that go to your ceremony. Kind of start splitting that money up and figuring out what it is that you have, what it is you need to spend money on, and where that money's going to go to. Right. So a good way to do this, we do have some helpful tips in the description below, some worksheets to kind of help you guys get started on that. What percentage you want of your budget to go where. So that's why you want to start with a firm number too. So you have the idea of, if we're taking 50% and putting it here, you know what 50% is.
And the worksheets are a great tool. You can always change things around and change the budget around a little bit as you go. You may find that you thought you were going to have to allocate $2,000 for a dress, and actually you got it on sale and maybe you only spent half of that.
Yes.
So then you can add into your budget somewhere else. So keep those tools handy for you, and you are going to correct them and change them all the time. So
yeah.
It doesn't have to be the one you make out in the beginning, does not have to be the one you end up with. So
yep. And we always recommend setting aside at least 10% of your budget for unknown expenses. You're going to run into things that you didn't think of in the start. So no worksheet that we can give you is probably going to have everything that you're going to spend money on. So Go ahead and set aside 10%. That's a good, safe number. And obviously, if you have that at the end, go splurge on your honeymoon.
Right.
So
Perfect.
The last thing we're going to help you with is maybe start brainstorming ideas on ways that you can save money. Where can you cut costs? What is the least important to you and your fiance on your wedding day? And can that be X'd out of the budget completely, or can you spend less money on it? So,
and of course, we have to fit a little plug in for Fancy Flip.
Yes.
We're a great way for you to save money.
Yes.
You can come in, you can shop from multiple sales of ours, and that is a great place to save money on your decor budget.
Get decor,
So,
but also accessories, maybe some gifts that you're going to get your
Oh, yeah.
bridesmaids. And,
Yeah, absolutely.
Just pretty much any kind of wedding item that can be reused.
One of my favorite ones is we always see bridesmaids dresses there, and although they're beautiful for bridesmaids, maybe you don't have enough of them, or maybe they're not the right sizes. But if they're in the right color palette, what are you going to wear for your rehearsal dinner? Think about that.
Or to your bridal shower.
Or to your bridal shower. Yeah, that's
or
a perfect one.
parties, things like
So
that.
that's a great way to get a beautiful dress for one of these events that goes along with your ceremony, and you can save a ton of money there.
Yes. So, and you can consider one of the biggest ways to save money is cutting your guest list. That might not be an option for you.
That is the biggest way.
Yeah, the less people, the less you have to spend. There's less food. There's less centerpieces. There's just less overall. So
anytime you have a big event like this, it's always a per person event. Whether you're cutting, I mean, you figure if you cut 8 to 10 people out of your guest list, that's an entire table. So now you don't have a linen for that table. You don't have a centerpiece for that table. You don't have, of course, you don't have to provide the food for those people.
Food or cake or things
Leah
like
brought
that.
up something just the other day when we were discussing, we were kind of going over this, and she said a great way to think about it too is think about if you were taking all of these people that are on your guest list out to a restaurant to dinner.
Yes.
Now kind of think about, okay, what's the restaurant bill going to be for that?
Yes.
So that's kind of a way where you can estimate a little bit about what you're getting into when you're thinking about doing that 200 or 300 people guest list.
You're going to feed all those people. An average meal at a restaurant is like $10 to $15 a person. So you're going to spend that money in feeding them.
Right.
I mean, even if you're just doing pizzas, you're going to spend money on feeding 300 people. It's going to cost you a pretty penny. So just think about those things. The biggest way to cut the majority amount of money is to start cutting your guest list. So there's obviously other ways that you can chip away here and there, but the biggest way you can save money.
Also, I don't know if we touched on this before or not, but when you're discussing your budget with everybody, anybody that is contributing to your budget for your overall wedding, you need to run the guest list by them too.
Yes.
So if you've got mom and dad in there, maybe they have 10 people that they want to get invited, you hadn't considered them before.
Yeah,
so,
but if mom and dad are paying for 90% of the wedding,
right,
they
then
have input
you need to
on
indulge
that.
mom and dad on
Yes.
that one. But yeah, so make sure that everybody that is financially contributing to the budget is also aware of what the guest list is going to be.
Yes. I think that about wraps it up on ideas that we have. So we would love to hear from you on ideas on ways that maybe you've cut down on your wedding budget and ways to save money, especially locally. If you guys have different things that go on in the area that are great money savers.
Yeah, we would love to share that with everybody that's watching and listening. So feel free to go ahead and comment in the section below.
Thanks so much, and
we'll see you next time.
We are perfect in every way.
Yeah, in our dreams we are.
Yes. All right. I'm gonna double clap, and then you guys can start whenever you're ready.
Hello.